Call halal, Yahawah, Bahashem, Yahawashi. All praises to the Most High Yahweh in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahawashi. I came across an article that I thought was interesting. It talked about parasites, specifically tapeworms, that people can acquire by ingesting pork. I came across this article on a forum called CureZone, which is a site that has a lot of testimonies from people that have undergone various illnesses and treatments, typically tending towards natural methods of healing themselves, although not necessarily. And the testimonies are just filled with lots of information about people's experiences, and I find it a very valuable source of collecting different data points and experiences and essentially testimonies from people and how they healed themselves. And I highly recommend it if people are looking to find more information around the topic of people's experiences with parasites. This particular post was titled Tapeworm Epilepsy, and the person says, does anyone know the best way to kill pork tapeworm that is causing my epilepsy? Here is the article about the culprit. And I chose this topic as a continuation of the lesson from a few days ago, because it starts to tie together the concept of parasites and demonic activity. Let's take a look at the article. This is from Science Nordic. I believe it's several years old. And it shows a picture of pigs, and this parasite in particular that's going to talk about is a tapeworm that was acquired from eating pork. And we know that eating swine's flesh is a sin, and what we as Israelites were prohibited from doing for many reasons. But pork is, I believe I read somewhere, and maybe I'll have to go back and pull the article up on this, but that tapeworm parasites in pork and other parasites, their eggs and cysts and whatever else is within the meat, isn't destroyed when it's cooked. So if you are eating pork, you're putting yourself at risk for potentially very dangerous consequences from ingesting these tapeworms that then can go on to modify your behavior, and not in a good way. So it says here, eggs from tapeworms are found in human. This is just a caption for a picture of pigs, and it shows a place in Africa, I'm presuming, but the reality is this is all over the world. If you are eating pork, then this is most likely a reality. Eggs from tapeworms are found in human excrement, for instance in nature in Africa. And I love how they always show a third world country for these things, but the truth is this is very much as well as in developed countries as well. These eggs can travel via pigs to human stomachs and then to the brain, where they cause epilepsy. And I'm positing that it's not only limited to epilepsy, and it could also impact people in a more mild way. Even if they have parasite, they may not be exhibiting or noticing debilitating symptoms, but they're still being affected by them. Tapeworm parasites in the brain give epilepsy is the title of the article. Traces of pork tapeworm that end up in the human brain can cause epilepsy, but both the parasite and its complications in the form of disease can be fought. This article is from February 2012. 21-year-old Isabel grew up in the countryside near Maputo in Mozambique. She's a pretty woman, went to school for 6 years, and comes from a good family. But her chances of marrying and getting children are slim because Isabel has epilepsy, a brain disorder characterized by repeated seizures, convulsions. Seizures are episodes of disturbed brain activity that cause changes in attention or behavior. Comes from excrement is the heading of the next section. Isabel developed epilepsy because she happened to eat eggs from a tapeworm in human excrement from a family member, friends, or neighbors. The tapeworm eggs had developed into sacs containing the tapeworm larvae in her brain. So it's saying that she ate human excrement. Which is interesting. I mean, it's possible, that's what it says here, but just the same, you can eat pork and consume the parasites that way. And they may not necessarily be destroyed in the stomach. Parasites are very difficult to destroy. Isabel's village has no flushing toilets, and not everyone uses the latrines that have been dug. Instead, Isabel and other villages retire behind a bush when they need to go to the toilet while working in the fields or on their way to or from the market or school. This means that the tapeworm eggs are found on plants or in the soil, where they can be eaten by pigs or even by people. When the tapeworm eggs develop in the body of a human or pig, the human or pig develops a disease called cysticercosis. Cysticercosis. So, for example, if you are fertilizing a garden with manure from pigs, and one of the eggs from a tapeworm that's found in that manure is on the vegetables and you consume that vegetable, that's another way of acquiring the parasite. I can't speak for where Isabel lives, but I mean, I've traveled to a lot of different countries and continents, Africa included, and to suggest that people are consuming feces, I mean, you know, say that's an interesting perspective. I wouldn't say that it happens any more there than it does here. I mean, it's quite insulting. Undercooked pork can also infect you. Here we go. Humans and pigs with cysticercosis have cysts in their bodies. While this disease results in few significant symptoms in pigs, the cysts will often end in humans' brains, which a large amount of blood flows through. Cysts in the brain cause neurocysticercosis. The parasites essentially set up shop in your brain. From the parasite's point of view, humans with cysts in their bodies, in their brains or bodies, are a dead-end development. The parasite cannot reproduce itself. But if tapeworm eggs or larvae reach a human's intestines, because the human has eaten undercooked pork infected by tapeworm cysts, the tapeworm can reproduce itself. Of course, if the tapeworm is in your brain, presumably it's growing larger and potentially has very damaging consequences. Cysts and epilepsy. Scientists at the University of Copenhagen's Department of Veterinary Disease Biology have been involved in researching cysticercosis and have been supervisors for several PhD students from Africa. One of the scientists, Maria Vang Johansson, a veterinary surgeon and a professor at the department's section of parasitology, health, and development, says the connection between cysticercosis and epilepsy is extremely well documented. Researchers who scan the brain of an epilepsy patient very often find both parasite-specific antigens circulating in the patient's blood. Interesting. Which documents the existence of living parasites and spherical bodies up to 1 centimeter in size in the brain. Cysticercosis never gives an unambiguous picture. Well, a picture will never be 100% unambiguous. Okay, that's a very interesting way to put it. Says Johansson. When asked whether the spheres in the brain could be caused by something other than cysticercosis, but we can see either clearly limited sclerosis, which are dead cysts or lesions with active cysts, she adds. The active cysts are seen as circular, limited in concentrations, which are very good indications of brain cysts, but we can never completely preclude that they could be something else. However, by assessing the size and form of the concentrations, the researchers can often determine that they are cysts, but the location of the cysts cannot be used to determine their existence. They are found in all parts of the brain. Okay, so that's quite an obfuscated paragraph there, but what can I say? Let's move on to the next.